Oh hey, Calamity Chaos 1992! It's funny how you mentioned Solidarity, since I've been playing OCG Solidarity Dinosaurs lately. Have you been stalking my posts on Pojo, or did you just put two and two together when I mentioned I was playing Jirox in the Royal Oppression video? Either way, I think I will talk about Solidarity this time around. This card is always compared to Burden of the Mighty when discussions about the two come up. And why not? They are very similar in that they alter the attack of monsters on one side of the field. Burden weakens the opponent's monsters by 100 times their level, where Solidarity adds a flat 800 to any monsters you control. But there's a catch with Solidarity. Your graveyard must only contain monsters with one printed type, and only monsters you control of that type get the boost. Burden of the Mighty is generally chosen over Solidarity for the fact that you don't have to be as strict with your own deck when building one with it. However, Solidarity offers a potentially much greater reward for your trouble. In just about any game I can think of, buffs to your own stuff are usually stronger than debuffs to your opponent's stuff. And I don't think Yu-Gi-Oh! Is any different, especially when you account for the fact that the 800 buff from Solidarity is going to be of a greater effect than whatever debuff is handed out by Burden most of the time. I think I'm just going to stop mentioning Burden now, but most of the stuff I'll be saying from here on out applies to it too. Another problem that higher level players seem to have with Solidarity is that it's supposedly a -1. What? No. If you win at least one battle that you couldn't have before, Solidarity is acting as a 1-for-1. If your opponent uses a removal card on it, other than something like Breaker, it's also a 1-for-1, even if you didn't win a battle with it. It's a +1 if you did. The only time that Solidarity is actually a -1 is if your opponent uses a chainable removal card against it, when you declare an attack on a monster with more attack. That would be bigger without the help of Solidarity. If you didn't read the situation and that happened, that's your own misplay, not the fault of the card itself. Durr. Also, if they don't use removal on Solidarity, it will continue to make pluses or heavy swings every turn until they do, which will bring you closer to victory all the more quickly. The real problem with Solidarity is that it just isn't as good as Honest and Kalut, and it's redundant against zombies since you can probably run over all of their monsters anyway, or they've already killed you. Either way. This just means that this isn't the right meta for Solidarity, but you shouldn't count it out entirely, since it does have a lot of potential if the game shifts in any significant way come March. As for using Solidarity in the decks you asked about, Blackwings, don't even consider it. The deck is already cramped for space as it is, and has much more powerful cards on hand anyway, namely Kalut and Icarus Attack. 6 Samurai? Honestly, I don't know much about 6 Samurai, other than the fact that they're the warrior Blackwings without any access to synchros. My initial thought would have to be no, because it doesn't seem like it would mesh all that well, considering they'd have trouble getting Solidarity online right away, and they're usually using their swarm powers to run over stuff anyway. Yeah. Fish. I don't like the idea of Solidarity in Fish either. Fish are mostly big beaters and can run over monsters no problem as it is. Or they OTK without it. Rock Stun. I haven't seen much of this deck, Gonna sound like a broken record, but I wouldn't use Solidarity and Rock Stun because Kawakimeru Guardian already runs over everything, whereas stuff like Grand Mole and Jujitsu Master and Morphing Jar don't really benefit from the boost. Aliens, gonna say no again, since they suffer heavily from consistency issues, and Solidarity doesn't really help that. I believe they can already win battles without much trouble anyway, between Ammonite, their synchros, and whatever beat sticks they have, because I know they have some beat sticks. Finally, warrior decks, more specifically Bushi variants. Yes! Run Solidarity in these. You're already using a deck of pure warriors to accommodate Bushi, and on top of that, most of the more potent warrior monsters have relatively low stats and would love that attack boost, since it lets them win more battles. A 2200 attack Don Zalug, for example, is much scarier than a 1400 attack Don Zalug. Whew, that was a lot to say. You guys should learn from Calamity Chaos 1992. I can make much better videos if you actually give me specific issues to talk about pertaining to the card in question. Anyway, with that all said, I guess that'll be it. Later.